to the program. We've got Libertarian candidate Mr. Casey Copeland is on the line. He's a Libertarian. He's running for state representative over in District 80. Casey, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us geographically, District 80, what part of the state is that, and what are the boundaries?
Sure. The major towns are Cedarville, Prairie Grove, and Lincoln, and it runs from a little bit south of Uniontown down in Crawford County all the way up the western side of Arkansas to the Cincinnati area, and then over to Wheeler, and just kind of western Washington County and northwestern Crawford County.
Last time I had you on, Casey, I didn't realize it, but apparently it was controversial. A lot of Marble Palace, I guess glazed over Republicans really upset that I'm having a Libertarian on because the incumbent, Charlene Fight, I think she is a Republican, and so they were upset that we had you on. But I'm not afraid of debating ideas. What are your ideas? What's your government philosophy?
Well, I guess to address that, I think the problem that Republicans in the state, well, at least the ones in office have, is that they're no longer the small limited government party, and there are still a lot of people in Arkansas that believe in small limited government. And if they abandon that voice, then somebody's going to step in, and that's going to be the Libertarian Party. So, they've brought it on themselves by becoming the party of lesser government and not really the party of limited government. Because when people go to the polls, they have two choices: big government or bigger government. And with the Libertarians, we are actually a party of small limited government, and that's what a lot of people still want.
That is very interesting. I like how you've put that. I've never actually heard it, said that way before. What do you? I was talking with a Libertarian the other day, and we did talk a little bit about the fact that we'd love to talk about these specific issues. We'd love to talk about specific issues with government, but right now, we really got to focus on getting an honest government back to where the people can trust it. So we, I'm to the point now. Don't get me wrong. I don't want a Democrat in office. I wouldn't vote for a Democrat in office or a progressive in office because I disagree with him. But I would prefer an honest. If you're going to be in office, I prefer one to be honest, to actually tell you, well, I think we should all be forced to put all of our money into one big pot and divide it up equally, so that we could have an actual debate. We right now. And I think there are honest people who are socialists, and I think there are honest people who are not. We got to have honest politicians that are not going down there trying to, get something for themselves. And we have seen that in the headlines daily, that they're carving out financial niches for themselves, that they are doing these illegal things. And so do you agree with that? I know that was a long-winded question. We got to have honest government.
Well, absolutely. I don't know anybody who would disagree with that. But for instance, and I agree with you. There are a lot of people on the left who we disagree with, but they're honest and they're upfront about what they want. Let's take Medicaid expansion, for example. The Democrat candidate, like most Democratic candidates in Arkansas, the Democrat in my race supports Medicaid expansion and opposes the work requirement. That's honest. You can respect that even if you disagree with it. Representative Fight says that she does not like Medicaid expansion or Obamacare, but somehow the work requirements make it tolerable. Well, the fact is she voted for Arkansas Works 2 years before the work requirement was approved. So I think that's a little bit disingenuous. So I think that lacks the straightforward approach that people, especially in District 80, and in rural areas, that they want from the representatives. Tell us what you think, and if we don't agree with it, fine, but don't beat around the bush. Just tell us what you think.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this about the work requirements. Do you think that they are working in terms of, you do have headlines about this many thousand people removed from the rolls. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, if the purpose of the work requirement was to kick people off Medicaid, it's working. But if the purpose of the work requirement was to get people to work, it's not working.
That's interesting. You see, what I'm wondering is this, Casey. I don't know. I know what the headlines say, Okay, the headlines
Right.
say it's kicking people off. The left,
Right.
Arkansas Times, that the universe kind of writes itself. The Arkansas Times is actually, outraged. How could you do this? But if you're not doing the redeterminations, meaning, and if you're not doing the Paris match, which we've broke that story. State Representative Dan Sullivan has told us, that some of his research and everything, that they're not doing this Paris match, which is when you cross-reference Arkansas's Medicaid rolls with other states' Medicaid rolls. And one of the reasons, the speculation is that they're not doing these federally mandated checks because DHS is focusing everything into Arkansas Works. So this really could just be a wash. You get the positive headlines that 4,000 people got removed last month. Well, if they'd have been doing the redeterminations and the checks, it might have been the same or more than that being removed. So I think what we have here is kind of a potential just a shell game. We get the positive headlines. See, it's working. We told you all along, work requirements. But if you're not doing the other things that you're supposed to be doing, according to federal law, by the way, which is redeterminations and this other stuff, it may be just kind of propaganda is what I'm worried about here.
Yeah, I think you're right. And if you look at the current leadership in the last few legislative sessions where they lower one tax and raise others, we know that they know how to play that game. We know that they know how to shift things.
Anyway, Casey Copeland, everybody, he's a Libertarian candidate, state representative for District 80.